hope you're ready because Remnant 2, the highly anticipated sequel to Remnant from the Ashes, is just around the corner. And this time they're going all in on class archetypes and build crafting. When the game launches, you'll have the opportunity to choose from up to 5 different starting classes, and there will be even more to uncover as you progress through the game. In this video, I'll guide you through all the juicy details we know so far about each class, the Gunslinger, the Handler, the Medic, Challenger, and the Hunter, and we'll go over their unique starting weapons, powerful skills, passive perks, and traits. Use this video to plan out your starting and secondary archetypes so you'll be ready at launch. Alright, grab a drink and get comfortable because it's time to dive in. Here's some great news. In Remnant 2, you have the freedom to switch your archetype whenever you want without any cost, as long as you have another archetype unlocked. And as you gain XP and level up, you'll unlock special skills unique to each class. While you can only equip one skill at a time, you can freely swap them in and out when you're not in combat. There's also a dual archetype system in Remnant 2, and if you want more information about that, check out my previous video that I'll link in the pinned comment down below. Now let's take a closer look at the strengths and weaknesses of each archetype. Then you'll be able to make an informed decision about which class best aligns with your playstyle and which one may not be the right fit for you. Speaking of being right for you, if you're finding this video helpful and you want to learn more about Remnant 2, including build crafting, secrets, and guides, consider subscribing and help me hit my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You'll get to pick one of these starting classes right away, but if you don't pick that class as a starting class, you're going to have to unlock it by other means. And it has been confirmed in the official Discord by Tragic that you'll be able to purchase all the starting archetypes at Ward 13 from the different vendors as long as you have the scrap and the materials. One more caveat before we jump in. Some of the specific numbers in this video are subject to change before launch as some of the footage is pre-alpha. Obviously, it's been in development, all of the videos we've seen, and in their official Discord, we have gotten some confirmation that some of the numbers have changed. So use them as a guide more than exact numbers. All right, here we go. First up, the Hunter. This archetype recently got their official reveal trailer this week, which is actually what I was waiting for to make this class video. If you enjoy precision aiming, crit damage, and big numbers, the Hunter archetype is for you. This class is all about boosting weak spot damage and even has some perks in their kit for melee damage as well. Their starting weapons are a sniper, pistol, and a katana as their melee weapon. Their class-defining prime perk is called Dead to Rights. Dealing ranged weak spot damage extends the duration of active hunter skills by 3.5 seconds. This can extend the timer beyond its initial duration. This is just a passive prime perk, so you're going to be able to increase the duration of your hunter skills by a lot. And wait until you hear the skills for the hunter because they are pretty strong and you're definitely going to want to extend them. The passive perk for damage is called Deadeye. You get range damage, weak spot damage, and range critical chance. This damage also increases as you level up. Next up is the team perk, Return to Sender. Kills due to weak spot critical hits increase ammo drops by 50% and double the chance of ammo drops. Combo this with the Gunslinger team perk that we're going to learn about later, and you will never run out of ammo. The Hunter's utility perk is called Urgency. Firearms gain 15% reload speed, and you gain 15% movement speed after a kill. This lasts 5 seconds. Now you could pair this with the Medic, and you'll be sharing that movement speed with your entire team. Lastly, the Relic perk is called Intuition. Using a Relic extends the duration of any active hunter skill by 10 seconds. This effect degrades with each subsequent use, but you can pair this with the Prime perk and shoot for days. You could pop your Relic, get that 10 seconds, and then extend by doing weak spot damage, and then pop another Relic a little bit later if you can't keep up the weak spot damage, and just cycle those back and forth. Now this is where the Hunter's damage really comes online, the skills. First up is Hunter's Mark, and if you played Remnant from the Ashes, you know all about this one. You cast an aura that lasts 25 seconds and automatically applies Mark to all enemies within 35 meters, which is huge. The Hunter gains 15% increased range and melee damage, and you and your team get 15% increased crit chance to all marked targets. Remember that mark definition for these next skills, that it gives crit chance to you and allies. Skill number 2 is Hunter's Focus, aiming at the enemy for 0.01 seconds to apply mark. Continuously aiming down sights uninterrupted and without shooting for 1 second causes the hunter to enter a focused state. Focused is another keyword, reduces weapon spread, recoil, and sway, and grants ranged and ranged weak spot damage and ranged crit chance. So hunters are just getting buff after buff to their weapon damage, which is insane. This actually lasts 20 seconds. So if the enemy is marked and the hunter is focused, that enemy is going to be dead. The last skill is called Hunter's Shroud. The hunter becomes invisible, reducing enemy awareness and making them harder to hit while moving. Attacking or activating a mod or skill will instantly exit Shroud. Exiting Shroud applies mark to all enemies within 10 meters and grants ambush, another keyword for the hunter, to the hunter for 2 seconds. This is where you want to use those really hard hitting weapons because ambush only lasts 2 seconds, but it increases your ranged and melee damage by 50%. So this could be your huge one hit shots that you're going to be doing right after you come out from invisibility. Your ranged and melee attacks apply mark. So if you need to get up close to a boss and do a big boom, you're going to ambush and go in and do a lot more damage. You're going to be marking them, which increases your crit chance for you and allies. And then lastly, the trait that levels up as you gain XP with your hunter is called Long Shot. This grants you weapon range bonus, so you can use more things like shotguns and have them do more damage at range, and it's up to 600 centimeters. All right, the next archetype is called the Challenger, and it is for my Titan mains in Destiny 2, or maybe you played as a Devastator in Outriders. I think this archetype will be amazing on its own or in the dual archetype system. The Challenger is a close quarters tank that provides a lot of utility to the team in the way of damage reduction. Their prime perk also fits well into a solo build. It's called Die Hard, and when you receive fatal damage, the Challenger becomes invulnerable for 5 seconds and regenerates 100% of max health. This can happen every 10 minutes. In addition to this cheat death perk, their other perks are very strong as well. Moving on to the damage perk called Close Quarters. Now this one's been changed before launch, but after these videos, but you gain up to 35% all damage to enemies within 10 meters. Damage bonus tapers off until 20 meters. Crit chance is increased at that same range as well. This damage increases with Challenger level, just like a lot of the other damage perks. Their team perk is called Intimidating Presence. After activating a Challenger skill, enemies within 10 meters deal 10% less damage for 15 seconds, with an additional 2.5% damage reduction per enemy, max of 10. So you could have up to 20% damage reduction, and pair this with the Handler Guard Dog Howl, which we're going to talk about later, gives it an additional 15%. That sounds pretty amazing for those difficult playthroughs. The Challenger's utility perk, Power Lifter, reduces your stamina cost and stamina regen delay from each armor weight by 50%. This pairs well with their trait, which reduces encumbrance. Their last perk for relic uses is called Face of Danger. If you use a relic within 10 meters of an enemy, you get 2 stacks of bulwark and 10% increased damage for 10 seconds. That's another one of those keywords, bulwark, that we might see coming into play in other areas, not just the Challenger. Now on to the skills. First up for the Challenger is the War Stomp. The Challenger creates a high impact tremor that deals 210 damage and additional stagger in a forward cone up to 7.5 meters. It deals damage in all directions at point blank range. Second skill is called Juggernaut. When active, you gain Bulwark, increasing your movement speed and melee speed by 15%, also increases your melee damage by 50%, which is insane. Stagger is reduced by 1 and it lasts for 25 seconds. The last skill is called Rampage. The Challenger gets increased fire rate by 15%, reload speed by 20%, and movement speed by 10%, and this lasts 20 seconds. Dealing high damage to enemies grants 1 stack of rage, which increases the range damage by 5% per stack. Upon reaching 10 stacks, the Challenger goes berserk, which reloads her current firearm and doubles the rampage effect for 20 seconds. So this seems like a melee and range combination class focusing on close quarters weapons like shotguns. The Challenger's free trait that levels up as you gain XP is called Strongback, which reduces your encumbrance by up to 10. And this archetype starts with a 10 gauge shotgun, a chainsaw looking 2-hand sword, and a magnum revolver, or at least that's what it looks like in the preview video. Next up is the Medic. This is the class that I'm probably going to play when the game launches. I will be streaming over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ twitch.tv/Abby Hour right when it drops for early access, and I'm going to be streaming a ton. I took a week off of work, so I will be streaming a lot, making a lot of videos, so definitely drop a follow over there so that you know when I'm live. But yes, medics are always one of my favorite classes in most games. After all, someone's got to be the one keeping these glass cannons alive, don't you think? If you enjoy being a supportive force for your team that can provide more healing faster than anyone else, then the medic archetype might be the perfect fit for you. I'm most interested in this class because of the prime perk, which is called Regenerator. After restoring 250 total health to allies, including yourself and companions, regain a spent relic charge. Each additional player increases the healing requirement by 50%. So in a full group, you'll need to heal 500 total health to regain that spent relic, but remember that relics are a bit different in Remnant 2. They may restore shield, provide damage buffs, healing over time, and more. So this could be the start to an awesome dual archetype that focuses on using relics during battle, but not for self heals, like that hunter class that just came out. The medic's next perk, the damage perk, is called Invigorated, and it grants you a 25% increase to all damage, that's including mod damage, skill damage, ranged, and melee, and gives you 5% crit chance. The damage increases with your level, and to be honest, I was really surprised that Medic got that big of a damage bonus. The Medic's team perk, Benevolence, increases relic efficacy by 15% and heals nearby allies for 30% of their total healing value, increasing to 60% for any ally below 35% health. Next is the utility perk Backbone, which increases the hits Medic can take before losing gray health by 2. This is interesting because we really don't know much about gray health yet. I believe it's the amount you'll regenerate as long as you're not hit again. And there may be jewelry that plays off of gray health as well, maybe some mutators, so that could be an interesting build for the Medic. Lastly, the Relic perk for the Medic increases relic use speed by 20%, and when you use a relic you gain -1 stagger, meaning you will be staggered while using a dragon heart unless there's a really big enemy trying to stagger you, probably. Alright, those are the passive perks. Now let's talk about the medic's skills. First is Wellspring, a channeled spout of healing energy that heals allies in a 3-meter AoE, which restores 10.5 health per second and greatly increases blight decay rate. The Wellspring lasts for 15 seconds, and if it's anything like Remnant from the Ashes, it's going to be really nice in a group for early game. The second skill is a healing shield, and this one's really interesting to me. The medic turns healing energy into a shield for all allies within 25 meters for 100% of their max health for 10 seconds. So this could be a really great skill for your tank. While they're shielded, allies regen 30% of their max health over the duration. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else can take advantage of shield regen and find any synergies around this. The final skill is called Redemption. This is the big revive skill. The medic revives down allies in a 30-meter radius, which is a really big radius, and restores 75% max health over 10 seconds. They can even hold the skill longer to provide more healing. This one sounds really great for harder difficulties or hardcore mode. Lastly, the medic's trait is called Triage, giving them increased healing by up to 50%, and their starting weapons are an LMG, pistol, and a flail for the melee. Next on the list is the Handler. This archetype comes standard with a friendly doggo companion that'll stick by your side. In Remnant 2, the Handler and their loyal companion work hand in paw to overcome any challenge. One of the most versatile archetypes, the Handler brings a bit of everything to any team and is an excellent start to your solo class as well. This is primarily because of their prime perk, Bonded. When the Handler is down, their companion will attempt to revive them at 50% max health. It can also be used to revive allies with a command as long as they have a Dragon Heart available. The Handler's perks are specifically designed for utility in a team or solo, enhancing movement and revival speeds to ensure smooth teamwork and support during intense battles. On top of the previously mentioned prime perk, which can carry over when the Handler is your primary archetype when you add a second class, the Handler also boasts an additional set of 4 passive perks. The Handler's damage perk is called Pack Hunter, and it gives you a 30% range and skill damage and 5% range and skill critical chance, which we haven't seen on any other class, while your companion is active and within 25 meters of you. This damage perk also increases with player level. Their team perk is called Spirit of the Wolf and increases movement speed by a flat 10%. All allies within 10 meters equal the handler's movement speed. They also reduce the stamina cost of all actions for allies by 50%, which that's a pretty nice team perk if you ask me. I think the handler will almost be a must on teams and maybe even great for speedrunners. Imagine stacking movement speed on your rings and mutators and then sharing that with the whole team. That sounds amazing. The next perk for the handler is a utility perk called Teamwork. This gives the handler and the companion 30% increased revive speed. They also take 25% less damage and the companion will not stagger while reviving. This is another perk that would work really well on a team. This perk would also be awesome in combination with the medic so that you could revive really quickly. You'd get your relics back as you're healing your teammates and it would be a nice loop. The last perk for the handler is the Relic perk, Best Friend. Using a relic fully restores companion health and grants them 25% damage and 35% damage resistance for 15 seconds. These perks all sound really useful for the handler as a solo player as well as in a team. We also learned that the handler has some passive interactions with their companion. Like when you're near the dog, they automatically heal over time, and you can improve this by giving them some pats. All skills also allow you to instruct your companion by pinging enemies or calling them back to your side. The skills of the handler function a little bit differently than the rest of the archetypes, giving their companion different modes depending on which one you pick. These skills or companion modes are Guard Dog, Support Dog, and Attack Dog. The unique part about these skills is the passive and Howl command. The Howl command is what is on a cooldown for these skills. It's on a 90-second cooldown, and it allows the handler to alter the behavior of the companion and provide a buff to themselves and the team. The first skill, Guard Dog, gives the companion 15% increased threat and all damage to them is reduced by 20%. Their Howl reduces damage by 15% to all allies within 20 meters and the companion generates additional threat. This lasts for 20 seconds and could be very, very useful on harder difficulties solo or in a group. The second skill, Support Dog, gives the companion a continuous heal for the handler and all allies within 3.5 meters for 0.25% of their max health per second. This would be a great multi-class with the medic and the support dog, just basically constantly healing your team and building up that 500 health to get that relic back. The Howl command boosts the healing by an additional 2% of max health per second and 25% increased movement speed to all allies within 20 meters. All this lasts for 25 seconds. Combine this with the movement speed of the prime perk and your team's going to be zooming. Finally, the Attack Dog skill. This gives the companion 20% damage. Their Howl command increases that damage by 20% for all allies within 20 meters, and this one lasts 20 seconds. Man, they are really making it hard to choose between these skills. I feel like these all provide a really great benefit. And then finally for the handler, their passive trait that automatically levels up as you gain XP is called Kinship, and this reduces friendly fire by 80%, further cementing the handler as the perfect team support class. It's also rumored that the handler archetype was initially designed to address concerns of solo players who felt at a disadvantage during boss fights without teammates to revive them, making those encounters more challenging. However, it's important to note that the trait you level up for free with the handler is called Kinship, and it primarily benefits team dynamics as it eliminates concerns about friendly fire, except when it comes to accidentally shooting your companion, I guess. This leaves me somewhat torn when considering the suitability of this class for solo play, as the trait may hold limited usefulness in such scenarios. What do you guys think? Is the benefit of a revive during the boss fight and the other benefits of the handler class enough to pick it as a solo player, even though the trait may not give you any benefits? And before I forget, the starting weapons for the handler are an assault rifle, repeater pistol, and they get claws for their melee, which is pretty sweet. All right, guys, we're getting to the end. This is the last starting class archetype that you need to learn about for Remnant 2, the Gunslinger. I left this archetype till last to also let you know that to start as this class, you'll need to pre-order Remnant 2. Of course, you'll still be able to find and unlock the Gunslinger during your playthrough, so don't feel obligated to pre-order. But if you're planning on pre-ordering, the Gunslinger archetype will be unlocked immediately for all versions, so we're going to talk about it in this video as a starting class. The Gunslinger is all about range damage and efficiency with firearms and bows, might I add. Pretty sure the Gunslinger's motto is kill them before they kill you. Their prime perk is called Loaded. When activating any Gunslinger skill, both firearms are instantly reloaded and you gain infinite reserve ammo on all weapons. Imagine if there is an amulet or a mutator that allows you to slot an additional skill. I feel like the way that some of these are worded, there's going to be something where you can slot an additional skill and have 3 skills. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's what it feels like with some of the wording of some of these. Then you could cycle them and you could have like infinite ammo where you're just activating these skills back to back. Wishful thinking, maybe. In this Souls-like game with guns, the need to reload can potentially result in the loss of a valuable opportunity to deal damage. So anything that gives you reload speed is really good in my book. Moving on to the passive perks. First up is the damage perk Swift Shot. Gain fire rate, range damage, and crit chance with all firearms. Yes, that's a passive perk, which is crazy. The fire rate and damage also increases with your gunslinger's level. Next up, we have the team perk Posse Up, which gives 30% additional ammo per pickup, and the bonus is split equally among teammates. Using an ammo box also drops additional ammo on the ground. If you remember in Remnant from the Ashes, ammo pickups aren't shared among the team, so sometimes you'll find yourself fighting for ammo during heavy combat, especially in the higher difficulty tiers. So the team perk for Gunslinger will prove very useful in a team to prevent this. You could even dual archetype with the Hunter for even more ammo. The next passive is the utility perk Quick Hands, which is simply 10% reload speed for firearms, and this bonus is doubled when the magazine is empty. Their last perk is for relic use called Sleight of Hand. Using a relic reloads your equipped firearm and increases range damage by 15% for 10 seconds. I'd say that's a lot of awesome passive perks and a lot of reload speed and fire rate for a firearms enthusiast. Alright, on to the skills. First up is Quick Draw. You pull out a special sidearm and you unload 6 rounds from the hip. You can either instantly fire towards all enemies in view within 25 meters and it divides the damage evenly among them, or you can hold and release and you'll be able to aim those 6 shots manually and have full control over the shots, so if you want to put them all into a boss or something. The second skill for Gunslinger is called Sidewinder, which increases your ADS movement speed and draw swap speed by 50%. Cycling weapons will automatically reload the incoming firearm. This lasts for 20 seconds. And finally, Bullet Storm. This skill makes all firearms fully automatic. They also receive 20% increased fire rate and 50% increased reload speed. And here's where the bows come in, so all you bow enthusiasts, listen up. Bows and crossbows gain 50% increased projectile speed and 25% crit chance. This lasts for 20 seconds. And if bows are anything like crossbows, or bows and crossbows are anything like the first Remnant, then they have some of the highest base crit chance already. So we're giving them even more crit chance. You could pair this with the Hunter as a dual archetype and give them even more crit chance. You see where I'm going with this. Finally, the trait for Gunslinger is called Ammo Reserves, which, you guessed it, increases your ammo reserves by up to 100%. For weapons, the Gunslinger starts with the hunting rifle, pistol, and it shows the scrap hatchet in this video, but I don't think it's a scrap hatchet because Brabus doesn't sell that, so it's just going to be another generic melee weapon. And that is it. We made it to the very end of the Starting Archetypes guide for Remnant 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into all the perks and all the skills across all the Starting Archetypes. Let me know down below what you plan to start as, and if you enjoy these deep dive videos, I'm going to be covering so much Remnant 2, streaming it over on twitch.tv/abbyhour, posting videos here on my YouTube, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.